Thank you. Good afternoon, colleagues. Thank you for the opportunity to present today. And as mentioned, I'll like to pass on apologies for Robin Pemberton, who has a better offer. She's in Darwin today, so presenting on behalf of Robin. So before I get underway, I also would like to acknowledge that we're meeting on Aboriginal land. I'd like to acknowledge the Darug people, elders past and present, our colleagues, the young people we support, and any Aboriginal people in the room today. So the presentation that I'll focus on today is to give you an overview of the Vocational High School's program. So it's really an insight into one of many initiatives that are happening within and across the Department of Education at the moment. The Vocational High Schools program is a pilot commenced through the previous government in 2019 through planning, and our pilot schools are Tweed River High School in the far north, in fact right on the border of Queensland with Coolangatta there, just to the north, and Seven Hills High School in Western Sydney. What's important to note about our pilot schools is that they are both comprehensive high schools. So they are 7 to 12 public schools with a broad remit as any of our government 7 to 12 high schools do. So they're not senior schools with a specialist remit, they're comprehensive schools. So I guess the opportunity and the challenge through this is, what does this look like in a comprehensive high school setting? What is really key is that the schools are hub schools. So whilst the focus is rightly on these quite phenomenal hub schools, the idea and the concept is much wider around the access and equity. We've heard that a bit today, but it's really about how do these hub schools enable students from surrounding schools to access the courses and the opportunities. It's also, I think, off the back of that presentation around the VET review, I think it's a deliberate effort to raise the profile of VET through the pilot, and that includes within. So I think we know a lot of the challenges are actually within in terms of showing the value of VET within our broad public education system, and to challenge, I guess, some of the stereotypes and perceived limitations of what VET can offer through strategic innovation. So there's some great opportunities that the pilot brings. So 2019 we got underway with the ideation of it. There's some phenomenal state-of-the-art infrastructure that exists with these two schools, and I'll show you some photos of what that brings. And that infrastructure in itself is outstanding, but it is really, what does that infrastructure enable? And in tight fiscal times, as the Minister has mentioned this morning, a pilot is obviously set in place not as an end in itself, but a pilot is set in place in order to learn and to, I guess, take on what does this mean more broadly for the system? What are the opportunities? What are the learnings that we obtain from this pilot? So Minister Carr, the Deputy Premier, and Minister Wan, who was here a little earlier, opened the Vocational Innovation Centre at Seven Hills in November last year. So whilst Seven Hills is underway through the Vocational Innovation Centre, the courses only commenced at that site from Term 4 2023. So students were on site from late October last year. So it's really, whilst we started the ideation from 2019, the delivery is really only just getting underway now. And for Tweed River High School, the VET hub there is actually still yet to open. It will be open in September this year. Courses are underway and the facilities are in place, but there has been challenges, as you would be aware. Those been watching the Northern Rivers, issues with flooding, labour supply, building supplies, etc. The alignment, as mentioned, around the vet review about being responsive to skill needs, I think is really critical to this model. So the courses that were identified early on through the planning phase align with projected employment growth in the far north as well as in Western Sydney. So I think that's really important, and that's not new in itself, but I think that that message that came through, and I think that will be strengthened hopefully through the final vet review, is perhaps we can be doing more and perhaps thinking more strongly about how do we provide that broad base of industry skills for our students, but how do we also enable those opportunities to really hone in on the projected employment opportunities. Industry engagement is aligned to that, and that's a core focus of this pilot. I will go into elements as to how in a moment. And really thrilled to have a workforce sharing arrangement with TAFE New South Wales at the heart of this concept. And again, I'll show you some examples of what that looks like. So, I've given you a bit of a sense of what the roadmap has looked like in terms of that initial planning. What I want to say is this is not a hard roadmap, it's evolving. It is really, I guess, a bit of an insight into where we've been and where we're heading. The pilot schools, as mentioned, underway from 2023. Our team, so I guess you probably, in terms of how government works and the department works, so we've got actually 2 reps here from Seven Hills High School today. Penny and Michael, can you put your hands up, please? So at lunchtime, if you're interested in what this looks like in reality on the ground, they're the ones to go and see. By all means, very happy to speak to you, but they're the ones driving this on the ground. I guess right here and now, the schools are underway. There's some, we have new principals in place at both of the schools who commenced this year. So Donna Riley at Tweed River High School commenced in term 2, so she's brand new. And we have Matt Saville who commenced at Seven Hills High School term 1 this year. So that is significant because I think as you would all acknowledge, leadership is key, right? The vision setting, the direction, especially within a comprehensive high school context. What does this look like? Bringing on board, winning over the hearts and minds of parents, school staff, the wider community, let alone students themselves. It's really important in terms of where are these schools going, what's the forward vision, and what does this look like? In terms of the team behind this centrally, we're part of Ellen Lynchen's team, and very grateful to be working on such a significant piece of work. We're charged with supporting the schools on one side, so I guess in terms of the overall project managing and supporting the schools and guiding them where we can, but we're also very much about where are we going now. So we're in the phase of commencing that learnings from the pilot, even though we're still, I would argue, early days in terms of what we know. There's an evaluation that is commencing now, and internally our CZ colleagues, who are the departmental evaluation and measurement specialists, they're conducting that evaluation with us, and we're preparing some policy background thinking now, and that will really forge over the next sort of 12 months and beyond, thinking about what are the opportunities for this more broadly and where's it heading. So again, Penny and Michael could I feel like a bit of a fraud standing up here and speaking about their patch. So Seven Hills High School is the hub for Western Sydney at the Vocational Innovation Centre. So the hero of this really is the fact that we have TAFE New South Wales delivering on site. So that's really phenomenal, and I think that workforce sharing arrangement is is one to be treasured. And, again, Amanda Walker, who's here today from TAFE New South Wales. Sorry, man, I have to throw you, but Amanda's been key to this, as has Jodie Henry, who's the local manager from Western Sydney. But the partnership with TAFE New South Wales is phenomenal, and really it's been an ongoing conversation since 2019, and it's not over yet. So I guess what we have, if you have a look at the courses that TAFE are delivering on site, those top 4, so that was part of that initial ideation or the labour market projections. So they were deliberately mapped against what are the actual employment projections for Western Sydney, and that actually drove the opportunity in terms of TAFE New South Wales delivering on site. So for purpose, industry standard facilities have been built on site at the Vocational Innovation Centre to enable the drainage, the supply chain operations, the electrotechnology and the individual support ageing. That's not typical for a public high school, as you would know. We're looking to build upon that, and I think in the spirit of being responsive to broader industry needs. Schools don't operate in a vacuum, VET doesn't operate in a vacuum, and it's ever changing, right? So we've got a starting point. The opportunity is to build upon that. So we're really thrilled to be engaging with Western Sydney Airport, for example. And we're not doing this exclusively. We understand this is across all sectors, but we're really thrilled to be engaging with them to enable delivery of aviation on site at the Innovation Centre. We've heard from the airport, for example, that Cert 1 aviation is going to be an expectation of their workforce across any of their services. Anyone who basically works in the airport precinct, that'll be their expectation, is they'll have a Cert 1 aviation baseline qual. So we're keen to enable that through this, and then potentially to progress to the Cert 3 flight crew ground ops kind of qual beyond that. School-based admin support, early childhood and care, and as mentioned, it's an ever-evolving space. Certainly not to deplete that. We're thrilled, like all of our schools across New South Wales, that we have school-delivered VET on site at Seven Hills. So as you can see there, through entertainment to business, financial services, and then building on that into the future, we also have those school-delivered courses. What's important in this context for Seven Hills High School is that it is part of a collegiate, so Narimba Collegiate, which includes Seven Hills High School, Quakers Hill High School, Riverstone High School and Wyndham Senior College. So the conversation is increasingly with the leaders of the collegiate schools. I think it's, being seen that whilst Seven Hills has a strong vision and direction and purpose and focus, and that's how it should be, the decisions are actually impactful across the whole collegiate. So even decisions about what courses are being offered to reduce duplication, and they're really the conversations that I think are ramping up and will continue to ramp up right now. What I should mention as well is that Seven Hills High School until 2021 was a junior high school. So it was a 7 to 10 school. So this is a significant change, and I would say learning curve for Seven Hills High School, let alone being the hub school for this incredible pilot opportunity. It also has quite a small senior cohort compared to the broader network of schools, and historically students have gone to Wyndham College, right? So it's a bit of it's a changing face. Again, Penny and Michael can speak a lot more about that, and with authority. So what I should add is that we've been fortunate through the pilot, because we have got, a green light to be innovative, to test and try some things. What the schools identified early on was having an opportunity to have some additional staff who are focused on this would be helpful, and so we've been fortunate to enable some additional staff at our schools, such as a dedicated deputy principal. Picking on Penny and Michael, we have Penny as a head teacher secondary studies to provide that broader context, the link across that comprehensive high school to the other collegiate schools, to primary schools, to help build that concept out. And Michael as head teacher vet. But we have other roles, such as the developmental coaching role, which has been put in place to provide wraparound support for students. So if you can imagine, I'll get to the numbers in a moment, we've got students from 16 high schools, even though we're just really getting underway, participating in the courses at the Vocational Innovation Centre this year. So the developmental coaching support has been put in place because most of those students are coming from other schools. So it's really to test, okay, what does it look like if we actually put broader support around those students to help them to get through those courses, to ease that transition and support them on the journey. Here's some fantastic photos of the infrastructure. So if you drive along the past Johnson Avenue, past the front of the school, you will see the VET building, or the Vocational Innovation Centre. It is a standalone. That's important to say, because at Tweed River, the build is actually part of the fabric of the school. So Seven Hills is unique in that this incredible facility is a standalone, adjacent to and connected to the school. Again, the entry. This is the key focus for much of the delivery. Lovely big sandpit there to enable the drainage delivery, as well as you can see, related to that, electrotechnology, and down the back, the supply chain operations. So an incredible facility. As mentioned, with really delivery just starting now, the plan is that the Vocational Innovation Centre will be a 5-day-a-week operation in time, and probably sooner than later. So that's certainly the planning. So alongside the great practical components is the business centre, the connection between the practical and theory components. Apologies, some of these photos are a little outdated. The clinical lab is actually updated now. You've got all these incredible mannequins and things in place that are highly engaging for the students and represent those industry standard facilities. Allied health classroom, the electrotechnology theory room, and just showing, I guess, how this sits in terms of the connect back to on the right is the wider school. So there's a direct connect between the school and the Vocational Innovation Centre, and as you can see there, it sort of shows how they connect. It's a shame that the minister's departed. There's a lovely photo of Minister Wan. So that was November 2023 when this incredible facility was opened. As you can see there, so we have 112 students in the course. There's a smaller Year 12 cohort, so I guess the first year, and really appreciative of the fact that those students took that journey of faith, to be honest, because the facilities weren't in place at that point. And again, big shout out to Jodie and the team at TAFE New South Wales, who, really helped the students were basically bused to TAFE campuses for much of last year. With a facility in place, being mindful that wasn't in place when subject selection was actually underway last year. So I think, we're anticipating perhaps a boom or a bigger increase in numbers this year. Now there's something practical to actually see and look at and imagine. But the numbers are in place now. As mentioned, we're thrilled to have 16 schools already participating, and we're hoping that will actually grow, because we, in a public education system, this is seen as enabling access and equity for students, across the system, and certainly across Western Sydney, Marimba Collegiate in particular, but certainly across Western Sydney. 7 courses underway for now, but as mentioned, that will evolve. That will continue to evolve. I think what's important at a conceptual design phase is this really, represents aspects of work that's happening in the department that is aligned to two of our pillars for the plan for public education. The first one is around advancing, those equity and access opportunities for our students, and students are at the heart of the thinking of this concept. And the other one, which is very close to Robin Pemberton as the lead, and same with Ellen Lynch's, is around Pillar 6, providing meaningful post-school pathways, and that aligns with a lot of other work that's happening in the department and certainly in our Pathways and Transitions unit. Tweed River High School. So Tweed River High School, unlike Seven Hills, has been a traditional comprehensive school for a number of years. So it's a well-entrenched comprehensive high school in its community. A bit over 600 students, 22% Aboriginal, and part of what's known as the Tweed 5 network. So Tweed River High School, Wollumben High School, Kingscliff High School, Murwillumbah High School and Benora Point High School. So it is part of that broader network of schools. With the challenges, I guess a couple of challenges. I think having a new principal just coming on board now, the timing of that, as well as with the Vet Hub not actually being operational until early this year, to be opened in September, as mentioned. The student enrolment at the moment at Tweed River High School is entirely focused on students from Tweed River High School. That will grow and change. There's issues of distance related to Tweed River, as you can imagine. As soon as you're talking about a regional area, travel suddenly becomes longer. So we're keen to test what this looks like moving forward. The courses that are being delivered at Tweed River High School are predominantly school-delivered courses, and they're continuing to grow and evolve. Some of them represent areas that are particularly aligned to strong economic growth forecasts in the Northern Rivers, including some you mightn't expect around the sports industries, the music, assistant dance, certainly hospitality and the agriculture primary industries. We're thrilled to have the aviation remote pilot course being delivered on site by TAFE New South Wales, so we're excited by that, and we're keen to explore that innovation with TAFE further. I know one of the things we're exploring, not just for Tweed River but for both schools, is around the potential for co-delivery, and primary industries is an example where perhaps the school can deliver some units, perhaps focused around so the animal side, and that TAFE could perhaps be covering off horticulture and so on. So anyway, that's all in for conversation at the moment. Okay. So for Tweed River, as mentioned, the build there is different to Seven Hills in that it is part of the fabric of the school. So the staff have essentially had a building site to put up with over the last 2 to 3 years, because not only has this build been happening, but they've also had their school upgrade, which is a sort of regular ongoing thing happening at the same time. So kudos to the staff and students for hanging in there through this period. But some phenomenal facilities in place. This is their STEM makerspace area. TAS construction. Hospitality, I think, is the hero. I know if Robin was here, Robin's a former hospitality teacher, and she just goes into raptures about how phenomenal this setup is for hospitality. Certainly in her mind, she's never seen anything better anywhere. So it certainly is an impressive enabling facility. We were excited to bring subject matter experts to Tweed River High School at the end of term 1, so with the vet teachers there, with the courses being predominantly vet delivered, we brought in subject matter experts aligned to each of the course areas, and they were able to spend time with the staff in planning out what does their delivery look like, what does excellence look like, how does that optimise further. So just a big shout out. I know I've got reps in the room today, but the partnership with our internal vet team and with our career and workplace learning team, I know you're here, Amy, as well, is really key to all of this moving forward. I know, for example, we had a webinar or an online forum with local primary school principals, for example, aligned to our subject matter experts. So certainly, the conversations are being had at Tweed River about what might this look like moving forward and what does excellence look like. Excuse me. Industry engagement, as mentioned, is one of the feature pillars of the Vocational High Schools platform. What's particularly exciting about that is that we, as part of the pilot, have been able to put in place a dedicated industry liaison officer at each of the schools. What's also exciting about that, for reps in the room, is that those officers, as part of testing from a pilot perspective, are actually employed by, so we have Kate Dickinson, who's employed by Connect Northern Rivers, so we bring in the power of that organisation. So it's not just Kate, who's a phenomenal person, but we're also bringing in the strength of that organisation and the long-standing partnership it has with the schools, but also with employers locally. And similarly, here in Seven Hills, we have Janelle Henson, who's employed by Schools Industry Partnership, so with Laura. And I think that's a great, it's an interesting model to be testing, to bring in that broader strength of those organisations. Part of the industry engagement is to really build that in structurally so that it's an ongoing conversation and not just a one-off. So we have a local governance that's in place now at both of the schools, where we have a co-conversation with industry locally, and that's now ongoing. And that conversation is really to guide and inform the future directions of both schools. I mentioned before, excuse me for a sec. Okay, apologies. The point of a pilot is to look at what are we learning from this and where are we going. A big part of it is looking at the delivery and how do we enable access and equity more broadly. The alignment to growth industries and employment. Supporting school teacher and support staff opportunities. Curriculum planning and curriculum packaging and curriculum sharing, enabling pathways from secondary to tertiary education and or work. I know that we could sort of go on further, but we're very keen to explore, in the spirit of innovation, we're getting underway the virtual delivery of VET to enable greater opportunities for students across New South Wales, and certainly VET to university pathways. I know that's been touched on a few times today. But how do we convert those vocational quals, particularly Cert 3, into other outcomes for students? So we're aware, I guess, of the some of the previous limitations that trade training facilities have brought in a sense of perception. I know Colleton High School, for example, we know that there was a perception through parent communities that that must be about hard trades, and so an unintended consequence of that, for example, was that the female enrolment dropped off for Colleton High School. So there's lessons for us to learn through this journey, and I guess one of the key narratives or things we're hoping to do through reality is to enable a broadening of pathways and outcomes for students, not a narrowing. So I think we're proudly VET, we're proudly pro-apprenticeships, traineeships, proudly pro-SBATs, but not only. We want to enable tertiary outcomes, we want to enable employment, we want to enable the broad remit of opportunities for students and where they want to be. You've got to, I guess, the innovations, the key, we're keen to learn from all of that as we drive forward. The other thing I want to mention is both of our schools are Educational Pathways program schools, EPP. So they have access to head teacher careers and SBAT engagement officers, which is really significant to add to the work that the schools are doing. They also have access to the REAP officers, as all our schools, and the Pathways engagement officers. And I think in the mix, it's a great wraparound of support that the schools have. And we're increasingly trying to connect into things like, I guess, that focus on women in trades. How do we enable that? And I guess, be contributing in a small way to solutions, to those wicked problems around women engaging in vocational pathways through and beyond school. I'm conscious of time and got incredible Megan Mulrooney about to present. So thank you for the opportunity, colleagues, to present today. Oh, sure. Yeah.
I might, absolutely. I might just keep Steve here, just in case anyone has a little question and answer. We've got a roving mic. If anyone has anything that they want to ask about this incredible program that's being done in Seven Hills and up in the Northern Rivers, very close to my heart up north. Anything we've got there? Fred's walking around with a microphone. Here we go.
Are you looking at expanding to the Central Coast regions, this program?
Great question. So I think at the moment, we really need to have an evaluation of this. As you can imagine, there's a fair bit of investment that has gone into this pilot. We really need to do a thorough evaluation. So what have we learned from that? Get a good evidence base in place. And I think that'll come from a sense of, what have we learned? What are the things that we would like to, I guess, continue with or grow, expand? And that's all within the actual constraints, as you know, of I guess, the department and decision-making for government as well. So, look, I think regardless of whether there'll be more vocational schools, I think there'll be lessons from it that will, look to benefit the system more broadly. We're connecting directly with our VET team through this, so they're doing some very deep thinking, as you can imagine, about what does VET look like, and off the back of the skills review and the forward VET plan for the system. So I think that it's an evolving space, but this will be part of that picture.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll use the mic here. I've just got Bridie here with a little gift for you to say thank you so much for joining us from Nambucca Heads and travelling to share your story with us. Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you.